Hello again, everyone, and welcome inside Bison Hill on a snowy Wednesday afternoon. It is National Signing Day 2023. I'm Todd Miller. Another great class signed, sealed, and delivered by Chris Jensen and his staff here on Bison Hill. And the head coach joins us. Coach, 46 right now is what you have listed on the commitment list. The largest you've had in about 5 years. The need certainly was there after last year.
It was. You know, we had with the transfer portal and everything, and the guys with that extra year of COVID getting to that point where they decide that they want to go on and do something else. You know, we probably brought back the fewest guys in the spring that we've had in a while, and it's not desperation numbers, but we still, you know, the challenge was there to go out and recruit players. It is the highest number we've signed on signing day. Not necessarily the highest number we've brought in, and so I'm excited about getting this quality of player this early in the whole process.
When you look at the commitments as a whole, you obviously shored up a lot of areas of need and concern from last year, but you also stockpiled a lot of depth, especially in the offensive and defensive fronts.
Oh, well, we're still working on the defensive line. We didn't quite get to the number we wanted on that, but we've got a number of guys that are still on the board, and so the recruiting process isn't over with yet. Offensively, though, on the offensive line, Coach Gothard, Coach Eaton, that whole staff, they did a phenomenal job and signed a large number.
You lose a lot of experience up front. You have some coming back on the offensive line. As a whole, this might be one of the better recruiting classes that Gothard has brought in as far as offensive linemen are concerned.
I think so. I think he took the challenge. You know, after last season, I basically laid out my vision for the program. I want to be able to run the ball more effectively. I want to impose our will on other people, and that starts up front, and I believe that. And we need to build this program up front, and that's the challenge. If I challenge Coach Gothard in any form or fashion, he takes it personally, and he really works his tail off to try to make sure he meets the challenge.
Got a lot of quality coming back in the running back stable. Also, you've added depth with a couple of guys in that department as well. That can go from being one of uncertainty last year to certainly a strength this year, don't you think?
I think so. And, you know, even right now it hasn't been publicized yet, but we've got a Division I transfer that will be publicized at some point. And, you know, that just does help add at the depth. We were very pleased with the production of our young guys last year and the guys that are returning. But, you know, you're always trying to find the best players out there that want to come be a part of this program.
All right, you signed a nice stable of quarterbacks, too. You have Aiden Thompson coming back. Dayton Wolf, unfortunately, has called it a career because of injuries. But we found out last year, Chris, at the most important position of the field, you can't have too many healthy bodies.
Right. And that's, you know, we did play 5 different quarterbacks throughout the year last year, and number 5 was actually Sam Sharp, tight end, who ended up playing quarterback because we didn't have the red shirt rule last year, which a lot of people didn't realize. Families don't realize that. Players don't realize that. The average fan doesn't realize that. But we go into Week 11 with 2 guys that haven't played all year long, 2 quarterbacks, and we want to preserve that red shirt. Well, we didn't have the red shirt rule where they could play any games. But fortunately for Division II, that rule passed a couple weeks ago, and so now a freshman can play in as many as 3 games and still retain eligibility. And so we're excited about that.
Wide receiving core, pretty stable. You lose one of the best in the country in Keelan Harris, who's probably going to end up playing on Sundays in the NFL. But the presence of Daniel Eaton, the offensive coordinator, out of the recruiting trail, able to get a lot of talent at that position, continues to pay dividends.
It does, and he does a phenomenal job with the wide receivers. But now that he's stepped into the role of offensive coordinator, he has his hand in every position. And so nobody's out there recruiting by themselves. Coach Eaton takes that personally as well, and he does as good a job as anybody.
Overall, how do you feel about the numbers and the quality that you brought in on the offensive side?
Oh, the numbers, you know, we need to get to our mandatory roster size, and so that's part of it. But I'm just so pleased with the overall quality of the players that we have coming in, and I'm just really pleased with the work that the coaching staff did to recruit. And then, you know, so many people behind the scenes to make this day special. The financial aid department, Danielle Cox and Tara Colvin, our compliance, Ethan Shropshire and Steve Fluke, and then obviously our sports information. They're behind the cameras over here. KJ Reed, Clayton Kaufman, Zach Frazier joining our staff.
He's still paying dividends, isn't he?
Yeah, he's still paying dividends. And then Tanner Morris, you know, those guys did a phenomenal job to make this day special for those players. But, you know, everybody together did a great job at pulling this all off.
And the communications part is probably more important than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago when you started this program, because that's almost the window now a university has to prospective students, not only in the present, but on down the line.
Oh, we're marketing our university all the time. And so everything that they put together and they put out there is helping the recruiting process. And don't put any pressure on those guys, but that's a huge part of it. And so we're so blessed to have the guys that we do.
The numbers right now on defense, you signed 3 defensive linemen. You're still working there. 9 linebackers, 2 safeties, 4 outside linebackers, and 3 corners. This was Gabe Elisario's first time to recruit as the defensive coordinator. Fit the role pretty well?
Oh, he did. And, one of the areas that we really needed to try to recruit to is the outside linebacker. Our defense, our campus, we tried to make some of the guys we had in our team fit that position, but they were playing a little bit out of position a lot of times, and so he was able to go target some guys that will actually fit that position at outside linebacker.
Outside linebacker, safety. Those were 2 really big areas. It looks like to me, on paper at least, Chris, without seeing a lot about these guys, you've certainly really answered some question marks.
Yeah, I think we did, and corner is a very important position as well, and we got a transfer from Southeastern. Taney Taylor came in to help with that position as well. That's already on campus. So, I think we did a great job in the back end.
I want to talk about transfers because that's something you have not built this program on. You have pretty much been program players. We're going to bring you in. You may redshirt. We may have you here for 5 years. You told me several times last year in the fall, we're going to have to do something different. We're going to try the transfer portal, and you did. You feel really good about the 6 that you have on paper right now.
Yeah, I do. The good thing is most of them have prior relationships, guys that we've recruited in the past, or guys that have a relationship somehow to our coaching staff. Knows our guys well, knows our coaches well, and will trust what communication is given. But that's the nature of the game nowadays. The transfer portal is so prevalent, and you're going to lose guys every year to that. But you've also got to be willing to look there and possibly take guys in. And the reality of all that, I'm going to let a little secret out in all of college football is, once they've transferred once, they don't have that one-time transfer exception anymore. So you have them a little bit more committed to your program if you pull them out of the transfer portal. I don't want that to hurt our high school recruiting. We're not going to recruit scared like we're going to lose those guys, but that is the reality of the game the way it is right now.
Don't you agree that at the Division II level, at a program like Oklahoma Baptist, high school recruiting is still the lifeblood? It's kind of gotten away from that at the higher levels because of all the transfers, but that's still really your bread and butter at this level.
It will be for us. I mean, you can just look at that sheet that you're looking at right there and see that, most of our recruits are coming from the high school level, and we want to find those guys that will bring in as freshmen and see them develop through 4 or 5 years. That's what brings the most reward for us as a coaching staff in our program. And so that's going to be a priority for us.
You guys have always told me that when you see on social media a kid has been offered by Oklahoma Baptist, that is a sincere offer. You don't just offer kids to have them put that on social media. If a kid is offered by Oklahoma Baptist, the program is very, very sincere about getting them into the fold.
It is. There's communication that has taken place, and unfortunately in the day we live in, there are a lot of programs out there that to be honest, they troll social media, and if they see that somebody's been offered by a competitor or somebody that somebody they're familiar with, they're going to come alongside, and within 3 or 4 hours they're going to be offered as well without any research done. That's unfortunate, and the unfortunate thing also is there are a lot of high school players out there that don't know what offered means. Offered means that the school is saying, yes, we have a spot for you, but it doesn't mean you're going to school for free. And so a lot of people out there feel anxiety because there's all these offers being thrown out and they're not being included. And so, it's just keeping up with the Joneses is alive and well today in 2023.
Has recruiting really changed in terms of kids feeling more pressure right away to take the first or second offer that comes to them? I know that was a problem you said right after 2020 in the COVID year, where guys were taking the first thing they were offered because they didn't know what the future held.
I don't think that's still the problem. I don't think they act out of desperation in that respect. Where the desperation is all those kids out there that all they want is an offer because they feel like is validating their ability or they're validating their worth, and that's so unfortunate in the world we live in today. Their worth is not tied up in what offers they have. What they should really be focusing on is being their best, and that's all they have control over. And the unfortunate thing is, you got kids begging coaches for offers just because they think that makes them worthy, which that's not the case.
You can look at that camera right there, Coach, and you can look at kids and say, when we recruit you, your athletic ability is only a third of what we're looking at. We're looking at you as a person. We're looking at you academically, because Oklahoma Baptist is a very difficult school to get in and to stay in academically, but the degree you get along with the football experience is very, very valuable.
It is valuable, and academics are so important. And for young guys that want to try to go to school, especially if you have financial need, you're going to help your family out if you take care of those grades. And so you got to make sure you do that. That's part of the process. But then character counts. Everybody wants players with high character nowadays. It's just you don't want to inherit problems. And so the research is done. So you got to be careful on social media as young guys. You got to take care of the grades, and you just got to be your best as far as your athletic ability is concerned.
Let's break this down as far as the recruiting territory. OBU is always going to look at Oklahoma kids, and almost just under half of your 46 that you have on paper today are Sooner State kids. There's plenty enough talent in this state to win at the Division II level. There
is, and that is without a doubt true, and that's been our priority since we got here. Coach Milo and I have been coaching together since 2004. We've been together. And so we spent 8 years coaching at the high school level together, and both of us have 19 years of high school coaching together. And, we felt like when we got here, the small schools didn't recruit Oklahoma as well as they could have. And so that's always been a priority for us since we've been here. But we've also realized how close DFW is and how many athletes are down there in that area. And, those guys that live within 3 hours are eager for an opportunity, and we've been able to have a lot of luck there. As you look at those numbers, Texas and Oklahoma pretty even, and most of those guys from Texas are from DFW.
I was going to ask you about that, because half the battle, or more so of the battle in recruiting, is establishing trust with high school coaches and their players. And you guys have done a good job in doing that down in the Texas Metroplex area, where these guys know if they send their kids to Oklahoma Baptist, they're going to be taken care of in more ways than just on the gridiron.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. We've got to do right by the players, and building those relationships with those coaches. Trust is critical in this whole process.
Overall, very, very pleased. I mean, as pleased as you've been in a while with what you brought in?
Oh, yeah, I was excited coming in today, and, just get even more excited as the day goes on.
What's up next? I mean, it's not completely done. You still have some other loose ends, I guess, that you need to tie up. But for the most part, this is the main part of the class.
Well, we're still in the recruiting process, obviously, and so my attention shifts to the players we have on our campus, and we're just excited about going through off season with these guys, getting to spring football and getting ready to play in 2023.
One other area I need to address is kickers. You brought in 4. You lose Guillermo to the transfer portal. I think you feel pretty good about all 4 of those guys you brought in.
We do, yeah, and that's another person that's done a phenomenal job is Coach Milo. He had a little challenge in front of him to bring some kickers in, especially good ones that are going to go compete on a daily basis, and he did that.
Appreciate the comments. Congratulations. Another great day for you and Bison Hill, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the spring and the fall.
Right. Appreciate you. Thanks.
Chris Jensen visiting with us, the head football coach here at Oklahoma Baptist University. That is a wrap on our 2023 National Signing Day coverage here on OBU Bison YouTube channel. For the head coach, I'm Todd Miller. We'll see you next time on BisonSports.com.